start stream first, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's the button I'm pressing. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Should be able to hear us nowish.
One of the first, one of the first comments says, "I hope Chef Voice is doing better."
Nope,
It's not.
It ain't.
it's not. This
Sounds
is what
worse, maybe,
This is
actually.
what I sound like now.
You sound like a piece
in
of
a
shit.
world. Okay.
No.
Let's see here. Let's take a look. Let's get Mikey's face.
Oh, that's not right.
Beautiful.
I'm learning the Nino Kune theme song. I like Nino.
Wow.
I like Nino Kune.
No, it's Nino Kune.
Well, that's the,
I
I,
love
I,
Ni no
I
Kuni.
like Nino Kune. I'm frustrated that it's not even better.
Same.
And then Nino Kune 2 is kind of like
It's all right.
it is okay. Yes,
My understanding is the president is who you play as, and there's a nuclear bomb.
Fucking gun.
Right, and you
Has a
think
pistol.
it starts so strong. It's like, oh wow, you play as the president who gets transported to like an anime fantasy world after a nuke
Yeah, he gets
destroys the
isekai.
country, and somehow it's like not that engaging.
That's truly the most
They never
disappointing
bring
thing.
that shit up again,
That's
which is weird.
awful.
Well, they bring it up after, but
Right? Yeah, it's like not, it's just like that was a cool
There's, like,
idea.
one
Let's
plot
not
point.
actually address that though.
oh, man.
Everybody,
Okay, sorry. I'm like dealing with paper documents for once from the
Wow.
house. We got to sign some shit.
not Canvas documents.
Not canvas
by-
document. Yeah, papyrus. Which I guess is paper.
Papyrus.
Sue by Chef Keely for
Let's
stealing
get those
the
reed
game.
plants.
Mess.
All right. I've got the rundown. I've got chat. We need to tweet. Copy video. We have one
Actually,
concurrent
yeah, to tweet
viewer
before,
according to YouTube.
Before
No,
we
we got
need
one.
to tweet
Why not?
before what's his name? Elon Musk start like charging them for every tweet.
Mhm.
There you go. Nino Kune was very good. I wish it was awesome.
Agreed.
It starts very strong. That's the whole problem. Like Nino Kune like does the whole like, whoa, this kid's upset about his mother dying, and it doesn't really explore that emotionally or thematically. It just kind of turns into like normal JRPG stuff after that.
Well, yeah.
Right? Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
not a lot of
yes.
character development with the side characters, with girl and slightly older guy. The battle system was fun enough.
I thought he was like, oh yeah, he's like the whole point is that he doesn't want to deal with that shit.
I mean, I don't remember. I can't remember. I just remember.
Yeah,
I don't
I
remember the
think it was-
specifics. I just remember how I felt about it. I was like, you know, they didn't really go anywhere with that.
It's
And then
still,
plus there's
yeah,
that
it's
weird,
still
like,
not-
It's it's weird because like the game has that weird kind of tacked on final chapter that they added, which is like
Oh,
maybe out of
yeah.
play. I don't know. It's weird.
Well,
All right.
I didn't hate the combat. I like the combat fine. 6.1 is fantastic overhaul. I loved it a lot. Just that was
Nino
actually
Kuni 2 combat is way better though.
You guys heard that music?
I like it more.
yes.
Yeah, we can hear it.
All right.
Nino
All
Kuni
right.
2
All right.
combat
All
is-
right.
I prefer Nino Kune 1. I like Nino Kune 2's combat, but there's just something about Nino Kune 2 that did not keep my attention for very long. I bounced off it fast.
I like the whole town management shit.
That's okay. The problem there is that you're always going to be compared to Suikoden, especially like Suikoden 2. and it
Maybe I
does
can
that
like
stuff very
use
well.
Go XLR to like undo my voice because okay.
Does
Oh,
this
shit.
sound better? Do I sound more normal now?
Yeah, you
Yes.
sound very
Yes.
normal. You sound
I'm a
very
normal
and good.
human being.
Okay.
You sound like
Sound like
Mork,
an old lady.
Mark.
or at least what I imagine Mork sounding like. I haven't seen Mork and Mindy in a very long time.
I'm a lady. I'm a lady. I'm a lady.
You're not a lady.
I'm not a lady.
You're not. That ain't no lady.
Grandma Grubb.
That's right. Okay. I think we can. I think we can get started.
Okay.
Mike, you good?
Fun.
Thanks, Christian.
Mikey, good.
All
Yeah,
right.
don't die in the middle of it.
I might die.
Die.
Who knows? All right. Let me do a thing and then we'll get started.
I mean, we had a super chat from Thursday. That's funny. Make sure to read that first.
Okay. Let's hit the button. Let's go. Let's do the countdown. Let's hit record. Let's hit the music and then we'll get going. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
Today's episode, I have a voice, and I'm sorry about it.
I'm sorry, too.
Yeah. It's always good to do your work and your podcast with someone who's understanding and thoughtful and caring about the situations people are dealing with. And then there's Mike Minotti.
You sound like a stupid asshole.
Hey, I don't know. Is it ever going to get better? Who knows? Feels like it's not. So this is just me now. What if my voice changed again? Puberty too.
I should be careful because I'm seeing all my nephews and nieces later today. So there's a good chance I might catch something from one of them.
Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's just nonstop, one thing after the other, and now I have to clean all night because I have like a landlord coming over to check on the house tomorrow. So that's fun.
I hate cleaning.
Yep, I'm like, we just found that out this morning. So, and it's a mess because we've been packing up and I haven't been doing the cleaning. So, all right, that's gonna be my evening, which means I probably won't make our Splatoon game night tonight, which I'm very disappointed about. But. Today's episode, as well as my voice, we have games. You could still go buy a shirt if you want to do that. That's still available. Let's also do the credits real quick. Thank you for joining Mike and me. You can get more of us at GamesBeat.com. If you want to ask a question, you could drop a super chat during the show on YouTube. We really appreciate that. If you want to communicate with us for free, you can still email us at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme songs. We are on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you are listening. It really helps people find the show. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. It helps people find the show while we're live. And then also once we go to VOD, join the Discord. The link is in the description. It's discord.gg/gamemess. Thank you to our mods who've been very helpful on both YouTube and the Discord. And you can support this show by going to patreon.com/gamemess. It gets you access to the private channels in the Discord. It gets you access to our Q&A that we do monthly and our Jeopardy game, which will be coming up pretty soon. It gets you very early access to that. We don't put those up until like a month later. So check that out. Mike, I got a bunch of news. Should we just hop right in?
Whoa. Yeah.
Okay. Hideo Kojima. There was a picture on Sony's website, and it had a bunch of PlayStation Studios games in it. And then suddenly they edited it and added Death Stranding. So clearly they are trying to communicate to all of us they've acquired Hideo Kojima's Kojima Productions, right?
Is that what happened, or did Kojima just do it himself and then tweet it? Because all I ever saw was Kojima's tweet.
That tweet was last night, though, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, people first saw it on the website because they've been talking about this for a couple days now.
Okay.
Then Kojima did tweet that, and people were like, well, this confirms it. And then he had to clarify a half an hour later saying, no, we're independent. We're staying independent. I get where people are going with this, Mike, but this is not what is happening here.
Well, I mean, it's literally just a banner of all their recently published exclusives. So
well,
of course,
Mike, Death Stranding was 2 years ago, right? No, there was the director's cut 5 months ago.
Even 2 years ago wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit silly. I also get it. But when he comes out and says it, people are still like, well, maybe he just means like Bungie. He's going to be independent like Bungie. So they are still acquiring him. It's impossible to kind of communicate this stuff.
This is like abandoned or whatever. Everyone's trying to talk. It's still, the dream is still real, even though I don't know why the dream here is that Kojima's been bought by Sony, but whatever. I think your enemies just want this to be real, Jeff, because then they can be like, see, look, your Kojima Xbox game isn't real. It was never real. You're a dumb piece of shit, just like Mike Minotti always said.
That is how I found out about this originally, is someone tagged me and said, I hope this is real so I can laugh at Jeff Grubb. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me look into this. And then I'm like, okay, I don't see it, but all right. Yeah, this is, if they were doing this, is probably not how they would try to announce it. No. I mean, people still believe it's like, okay, well, Bluepoint said that they were going to be independent as well. That's not exactly how it happened. Bluepoint in their bio on Twitter said we're an independent company and stuff like that. It's not like they were directly trying to debunk rumors or something like that. Kojima definitely is like just saying, no, that's not true. We're independent. And we're going to stay independent. And that's probably true. He's probably not lying to you in this specific case. And Sony does own the Death Stranding IP. They've always owned it. And if you go to like Steam and it says it's published by 505 Games. If you scroll down, there's a huge copyright thing. It's like the IP is owned by Sony. Sony has the copyright for this stuff. It's just published on PC by 505.
What a sexy IP to own, too.
Yeah. So, kind of a weird thing. It reminds me of like the thing that happened last week where people are like, the Xbox Live, they took away the year membership. And it's like, that happened 2 years ago. You just discovered it now, so you're getting mad about it again. And then they try to make a big deal out of it. And it's like, this is not a big deal. But yeah, people just kind of want to create things in their brain and then manifest them into reality, which apparently works. That's what Oprah says. So, I mean, I guess go for it. Did we talk about Kingdom Hearts on this podcast? No, because it happened over the weekend, right?
We talked about it on Nintendogs quite a bit.
Yes, so we don't have to go over it too much, but Kingdom Hearts 4 is happening. If you want to hear our full conversation about it, it was on Nintendogs. But I guess to hit the top beats, we don't know what platform this is coming to. We don't know when it's coming, but this is like going to be a full real sequel. And they showed some early, CGI and stuff. And Sora's feet are small.
Gameplay supposedly, Jeff.
Okay.
Gameplay supposedly.
Okay. All right then. They showed gameplay. And the big takeaway is that Sora's feet have gotten tiny, right? That's what everyone is talking about.
Normal. Well, Sora may have always had tiny feet, but he doesn't have his giant cloud shoes anymore, right?
Okay. Well,
it's not a Sideshow Bob situation.
That we know of. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just so excited for this month. I can't wait.
I know you are.
We'll ask this one question, then we'll move on. When do you think we get this game?
Gosh, that is a good question. 2024, maybe. It's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be stupid long. It's not gonna. It's not going to be like when they announced Elder Scrolls 6 and like that game's not coming out for 8 years, right? Right. I think that basically that Kingdom Hearts 3 team probably just started working on this after Kingdom Hearts 3, so it's not going to be a ridiculous wait.
Certain Affinity is working on Halo Infinite content. This is something we've heard as a rumor for a long time. This past week, they came out and said, hey, we're happy to be back working on Halo. We've worked on Halo for 15 years. We're doing that. And also we're hiring. So it seems like they're working on a pretty significant chunk of content. What do you want from this from this partnership? Do you want it to be a battle royale, maybe something a little bit different, or just a map pack?
In general, I just want them to help, make the stream of content coming better. But I actually do kind of just want a straight up battle royale experience within Halo Infinite. I think that would be a lot of fun. There's just a lot of replayability in that battle royale format. We know that it's something you can do by yourself for fun. You can do it with friends easily. And Halo Infinite just seems like it's really primed well for that experience.
Chat says that Kingdom Hearts is coming in 2025, 2032, 2069, and 420. So a lot of good guesses there.
Wasn't a Battlefield game set in that time?
Yes, exactly. I agree with you on Certain Affinity. I just kind of get some stuff out. I think a battle royale would make a lot of sense. And like we said before, that map from the single player game, you could just take a chunk of that and just go. Okay. And so hopefully that's what they're doing. Yeah,
you could even just start with that. You could do a bigger one. Part of me almost wants the battle royale to, maybe it should be even bigger than that, because you want to have vehicles really be a big part of it, and maybe you want to just give everybody the grappling hook from the start, just kind of make that a core mechanic of it. In which case, you would need a pretty big map. That's true. I guess, but
yeah, and that map is definitely big enough for that. So they would be, because there's the various sections, and as long as there's enough vehicles for you to get over those gaps and stuff, and if everyone does have the grappling hook, I think a mode where everyone always has the grappling hook is actually key. That would be a huge thing. That would feel new.
That's so much of what made the single player fun, is that grappling hook made movement so exciting. So basically I want a grappling hook mode, I suppose, but not just literally like a Forge mode, grappling hook only, something that's kind of built around it and with a lot of vertical elements kind of taking advantage of it.
Yeah. I talked a bit about this on Grubb Snacks. Need for Speed is going to take place in a fictional Chicago called Lakeshore City, and it's going to have photorealistic graphics, and then there's going to be elements that are going to be sort of animated on top of that. And I don't know. I guess maybe it's probably not going to look exactly like Speed Racer, but now that I think about it, I hope it looks like Speed Racer, the movie.
It's going to look more like those commercials, and I know exactly what you're talking about. But like, even that sounds almost dismissive. But it's kind of a cool aesthetic.
I agree.
Do something different, something to help it stand out from Forza and Gran Turismo these days. It seems like a good idea.
Yes, and because it's like, that visual flair, like you get that on like the covers of these games, right? Like you think about like a Need for Speed Underground cover, and I don't know if this is Underground. I do not know. I have no idea. But like they had like a lot of aesthetic elements like that and a lot of flair, and it's like if that were to translate into the game, that could be very cool. And so I'm very hopeful. And it sounds like this is Criterion. They're trying to make it like stand out in a way that the recent Need for Speed games have not. So hopefully that's exactly the case. Although a lot of the stuff is like coming back. It's like auto log for multiplayer. It's being able to customize each part of your car. A lot of stuff's coming back.
Maybe I'll check this one out this time. I've been playing more racing games lately. I feel like almost everybody in the game press is completely, not like intentionally ignored, but that last Need for Speed sure did fly under the radar. So this time maybe make sure to give it a little bit of a look. Also, Super Blastex asked about this, and this news did just happen right before we went live, Jeff, but No More Heroes 3 is coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So it will no longer be a Switch exclusive. So that would be good for... I know there's a lot of fans of that franchise, and maybe not all of them want to play on Switch.
The game ran pretty poorly on Switch, so yes.
That too. So it'll help that one.
That'll be nice for those fans, hopefully the games actually do run better, because who knows if that's like a problem with the game or with the Switch. Probably with the Switch, but hopefully fans of that game get a way to play that in like 60 frames per second. Epic Games got a big investment from Sony and Kirkby. Kirkby is the parent company that owns Lego. They both invested $1 billion each in Epic Games. It's a big chunk of change. I think it also just kind of shows where the industry is going, various industries. If you are like a Lego or like a block building toy company, and you're looking towards the future, like, okay, well, we want to be in the metaverse, I guess, but we want to be Roblox and Minecraft and all this stuff. Well, Epic Games can help you do that. And if you're Sony, obviously Unreal Engine continues to become industry standard more and more so. And having sort of that as like a potential partnership always in your back pocket is good. But also Sony makes a lot of movies. Unreal is becoming a bigger and bigger part of making film. So I think this is just it makes a lot of sense for both of these companies. And Epic Games is, it's growing. It's growing a lot because of Fortnite. But they've obviously identified pathways forward to grow even more, and whether that's metaverse stuff, it's probably more like game engine stuff, but then also like film technology. That $1 billion investment will probably pay off pretty big here in a couple of years. Yeah,
Epic's in a good spot because they can throw that metaverse buzzword around and actually have some truth to it, but also comfortably know that they're not depending on that for the future, like say Meta/Facebook is, right? They actually have other means of making a lot of money and growing in the future.
Yep, exactly. China is approving its first wave of 45 new games since July of 2021. That's a long time. That's like 9 months of no new games being approved. And this is not the first time this has happened. I remember I wrote a story a couple of years ago where it's like they've unfrozen game approvals in China. China is a massive market for games. It is, it's one that I think a lot of Western companies would love to be in, but that was difficult when they were approving games. Like China is this labyrinthine bureaucracy, and that applies to the way that you release games. And the way you release games, you have to get a publisher, and you have to get like a platform, and they take like 60 to 70% of your proceeds. So you don't make a lot, even if you're selling a lot. So it's always been a problem, but when they're not approving games at all, it's not even worth trying. And your best bet is to maybe go on the gray market and hope for the best. Whenever I try to look in why they're doing this, no one seems to know exactly why, except for it does seem to be like the Communist Party is afraid of losing its grip on the next generation of people. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not a good reason to do this.
Yeah, whenever this stuff happens, I'm always just wonder, like, what do the Chinese think about this? Because I know that they have a bit more of a sort of, go with the government flow mentality, is my understanding. But like, do the Chinese gamers resent this? What do they think about other countries where we just get all of the games? Are they jealous? Do they even know? Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of questions that I don't think I could really reasonably have answered unless we had like we had a Chinese correspondent, right?
Yes, right. Yeah, and I mean, I think you pretty much summarized it pretty good there. This is kind of stuff where I don't think it could operate like this indefinitely. Like they need to come up with a better solution than just like occasionally blocking all game approvals for 9 months. Because at a certain point, I do think people will grow resentful, like of the government trying to control their lives. But you're right that for the most part, they're like, oh, the party's done pretty good for us. They're trying to eliminate poverty. They have bigger problems than video games, and they're doing pretty good stuff with that. And so it's like I think a lot of people are continuing to give them leeway in that country. But I mean, still, this doesn't seem like a great solution long term. And to answer someone in chat who asked, does Grubb read chat? No, I do not.
Never.
I never have, never will. Let's see. California Department of Fair Employment and Housing had a lawyer resign after claiming that Governor Gavin Newsom fired her boss basically on behalf of Activision Blizzard King. The lawyer said that the boss said her boss they were trying to go through this investigation of Activision Blizzard, and the governor's office interfered and fired the boss, and now this person is resigning in protest. Doesn't sound great for holding people accountable who are in power, Mike. No,
it does not. And yeah, it's one of these things where we hope there's going to be some like fallout from this or some resolution, but probably not, huh?
Yep. It's like we had high hopes early on, but I mean, just more evidence that if you're of a certain class of people, you kind of can skirt consequences in almost every scenario. And this is one of the reasons why those senators were trying to say we need more scrutiny, because we can't rely on the state of California to do it, because obviously they don't want to this huge corporation that pays a lot of, well, I don't know, does Activision actually pay a lot of taxes in California? Who knows if they end up like that? But they bring a lot of jobs, and those people who have jobs, they pay taxes or whatever. So can we rely on them to hold this company accountable? Well, no, like we need to do it from a federal level. And even if it's like, we all know that things would get better probably for most of these employees under Microsoft, it's probably still worth having someone look into it and see what can be improved, and maybe forcibly apply conditions to the acquisition to ensure that these people's jobs will improve. But we'll see.
Yeah, just wait and see.
Witcher 3 has been the Witcher 3 next gen update has been delayed because CDPR is bringing development of the new gen patch in-house. It seems like they haven't confirmed, but it seems like they did this because Saber Interactive's team that was working on this was in Russia, and there's a lot of problems with trying to work with a Russian team right now.
Right.
But they didn't give a new date. Is this the kind of thing that you think they need to like rush out? Is it going to move the needle for them? Do you think it's like them retreating back to Witcher 3? Like after Cyberpunk, and they need to get this out?
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I think that it always made a lot of sense to do a big next gen update for The Witcher 3, one of the most popular games of the last generation, right? It's something that should have always happened. Maybe something they should have planned to even have happen sooner than this. So I think it'll move the needle. I think it'll definitely bump up sales for that game. It's definitely something they want to happen, before the next Witcher game comes out, which I think they'll have plenty of time there. But I also don't think they need to rush too much.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that once it's here, people will play it. But if it's not here, like, you can still play Witcher 3, and there are some improvements just from being on the next-gen systems and stuff. Sure. And so, I think you're right. Lauren Lanning said on a podcast that Oddworld Soulstorm's sales were devastated by being on PS Plus. I'm going to try to characterize how he put this. He said they were trying to put it out in January, right after the system came out. They had to delay it because of the pandemic, and so they put it out in April. So there were a lot more PS5s in the world, and only the PS5 version of the game was on PS Plus. So when there were a lot more PS5s, that means there was a lot more people who were able to just get it on PS Plus for the free month. And he said something like 4 million people did that, and they were expecting like hundreds of thousands maybe to do it. And so he's like, okay, and then now there's like no one left to buy the game. Does that sound right to you?
I mean, yeah, he was quick to point out, it's like he's not like blaming Sony or anything here. I mean, it is always like, that's the thing with PlayStation Plus or any of these deals like Game Pass, is that you're taking guaranteed money to protect yourself from risk. So, so in some sense, it seems like maybe the listeners, you better make sure that money is almost enough, right? Like that's going to make you happy enough because it is going to have an impact on sales more likely than not. Now, that seems like a pretty big impact on sales, but it's also worth noting, Jeff, that Soulstorm didn't get the greatest critical reception in the world. There's a lot of people who download it for free who weren't necessarily going to buy it otherwise.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's what we see happen, right? Is the games that get that buzz from being on PS Plus, that translates into sales on like Steam and later on PlayStation. And that happened with Rocket League. It happened with Fall Guys and stuff like that. Soulstorm was definitely like much more of a question mark for a lot of people. It's like some people liked it, and a lot of people were like, you could probably skip it. And so I never even ended up getting the free version, let alone buying the game. Those 4 million people were not going to buy the game, but some percentage probably would have.
Sure.
What percentage is still, I think, a big question.
That is a big question, Jeff, because it could be like, I don't know. I'm not even going to throw a number out there. I have no idea, but it certainly isn't 1-to-1. Not even close.
No, not even close. Here's some sad news. I guess we knew this, but let's just go ahead and confirm it. Vicarious Vision has now fully merged with Blizzard and not coming back. Yeah,
I'm surprised that's actually news. I mean, they've said as much to me, actually, because when I was talking to them, the build up to Diablo 2, I said, what is Vicarious? I would even say something Vicarious Visions, and they would just kind of be like, Vicarious Visions is Blizzard, right?
Yep.
Because I think I would say, like, are you guys going to like work on your own things anymore? They're like, no, we are Blizzard, and that was always the plan, and we knew that. And it's not something that I think even Activision or Microsoft could reverse if they wanted to. Now that has just been done. I mean, their former leader was one of the people that they made her like a co-leader, right? And then she left, so. Those are just now employees working for Blizzard. I think that it's a big shame. I think that in some sense they had to do it just to sort of save the Diablo franchise, right? Because Blizzard was in such a rough spot and they needed Diablo to hit that they just had to basically sacrifice one of their good studios to save the day. And that's where we are. It's a bummer though, because they were very good at doing a lot of other things, and they're certainly still going to have an impact at Blizzard. But I can understand someone like you, for example, being salty about it, who really enjoyed some of their remakes, and you don't really care about Blizzard games very much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just overall, it's sad. I mean, Vicarious Visions has a long storied history of doing really great work. And a lot of that stuff was like port work, but it's like their ports were so much better than so many other ports that I knew the Vicarious Vision name even before they got around to doing like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 remake. So it's like, it was always sad, but you're right. They've been dissolved into Blizzard. Like it's like something dissolves in a solution. You can't sort of just take it back out. It is now part of that thing. It's part of the whole. It is what it is.
I hope it wasn't too late for Toys for Bob, because I know the old plan was they're just gonna work on Call of Duty games. So hopefully Microsoft has better plans for them than that.
Yeah, and the reason we're talking about this is they put this on Twitter. They put this on social media saying, like, basically, I think trying to finally answer this for a lot of people who kept asking. And now it feels definitive for those people, even though, like you said, we've heard this from them before. Okay, Mike, what is Overwatch 2 Sojourn?
Oh, that's just the new character. So this was the new character they announced when they announced this game at the end of 2019. But now that the beta is ramping up, we finally got a real reveal trailer for her in terms of like what her moveset is and stuff like that.
Right, okay.
But it's interesting. I mean, that used to be almost be an event for almost the entire industry. Like, wow, new character reveal, right? For Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like, remember some of those first ones, like Sombra, there was like that whole like all these hidden clues and stuff. So it's interesting because this is basically the first time we're building up to a new Overwatch character in like 2.5 years or something, which is just wacky bananas to me, but here we are. And she looks fun. She's basically has a railgun, right? So if you like the whole Unreal Tournament railgun thing, I think she might be a fun character. I am excited to try her.
You said we're like working up to the beta. What are the dates on those? Like, there's a public beta coming up?
Yeah, I'm afraid to say because I know that like there's maybe something.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think I think it's public information. I think it's soon. There might even be people playing the closed beta. I think people are playing Overwatch 2.
Okay.
Because Blizzard always does like the friends and family thing that might be happening right now.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's all ramping up. I mean, they want to. I think they want to release that multiplayer mode this year, right? That's why they decoupled.
I mean, it seems like that's what they're moving towards. I don't think have they said that explicitly. I think they've just sort of
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if they said it explicitly, but I think that's. I mean, if you're doing a beta now, right? I mean, it's April, so it seems like multiplayer can come out. I mean. Yeah, I think so. I think it'll come out this year. If they have said that, okay, yeah, I think they even said they want the multiplayer to come out this year. Thank you, Andrew.
Cool, thank you, Andrew. All right, some quick hits. BioWare said it's begun early development of Mass Effect and the next Mass Effect game. This is something they confirmed they were going to do, but now they have people actually working on the game. Now, Dragon Age 4 is still...
That's nice of them.
Yeah, right. Dragon Age 4 is still ways off. Like, I think I've said that one's still, like, late next year at the earliest. And so most of the team's probably not going to move over until then. But, you know, you want to get some stuff in place, and now they have people putting that stuff in place, so that's nice. Saints Row Ultimate Customization Showcase event is happening on 4/20. So get your marijuana ready, Mike. And
I don't do any of that sinning, Jeff. You know that. How dare
and sit in front of your the boob tube and watch some Saints Row event from PAX, I guess. Capcom also officially revealed Capcom Arcade Stadium 2. Do you know what games are in there? I meant to look this up and then I never did.
Is this not the one with Darkstalkers and stuff?
No, that's Capcom like fighting pack or something.
So Capcom, I didn't even realize this happened because Capcom Arcade Stadium 1 was pretty cool.
Yes, it was. That's why I put it on here.
Yeah, how did I completely miss this? I hope this has some later games, or is it just a bunch of old games? Because 32 arcade classics. Man, that's pretty neat. Again, though, I feel like a lot of what I want is some of the older stuff, like the 2000s even stuff from them, and a lot of that is missing. Yeah. Maybe this one will have it. I don't even know if they've announced the games. They just announced that it's going to have 32 games.
Okay. All right.
So we'll see.
We'll see. All right. I mean, like you said, that first one was very good. I have that. I'll pick this up as well. All right. And then acquisitions. The Warner Discovery merger is now complete. Mike, are you surprised that none of those studios got sold off?
Haven't got sold off yet, right?
True. Yeah, so far, yeah. But I mean, it's been a while, and there was a lot of talk early on that they wanted to sell them. And you know, NetherRealm's still there. You know, the Suicide Squad team. What is it? Rocksteady and all that stuff's still there.
Everything's in a pretty weird spot right now. NetherRealm seems to be in this holding pattern. Like, obviously, they're deep in development of a game, but they haven't announced it. What's the future of Traveler's Tales? Do they still have the Lego license? What value do they have without the Lego license? And then, you know, we got some superhero games coming from Rocksteady and so on that maybe aren't they're not getting like Arkham Knight levels of hype, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think everything's pretty nebulous there. Everything's a bit weird right now. So I wouldn't. We talked about this before, but it's hard because you would have to sell the IPs with those studios, right? You don't want to just have NetherRealm, and that might be complicated. NetherRealm and Mortal Kombat must be a 1-2 deal, but is NetherRealm significantly less valuable if they can't make an Injustice and you know, things like that? I don't know, Jeff. What do you think? You tell me. You're the leaker. You're the acquisition king. Yeah, when is this happening? Is it happening?
Acquisition. Yeah, I don't know. I still think that it's the same problems that occurred when people first started talking about this are still there, where Warner wouldn't want to give up most of their IP, so they're not going to sell you the Batman IP with Rocksteady. And so when you buy a Rocksteady without the IP, what do you get? You get a lot of a very talented studio, but you get one that now you have to go spend extra money to get them an IP, or they have to start something new, which also costs money. And then you have to pay all these people, and it's like you're just buying kind of a liability almost at a certain point, instead of an asset. Now NetherRealm I still think makes the most sense, but also Warner probably wants to keep NetherRealm because the Mortal Kombat movie did pretty okay on HBO, and those games make a lot of money, so it's tough.
And you know, you have this big Harry Potter thing coming out. They probably want to see how that works. If I was in charge suddenly of Warner Brothers, and I'd be looking around at the other media companies, especially Disney, and I'd say, what is the one thing we do better than Disney right now? The one thing, and it would probably be video games, right?
Agreed.
So I don't know if you want to just throw that away.
Right. I mean, it took a lot of effort to get to this point. You're right. It would be kind of throwing something away. Last thing here, Aspyr, which is a subdivision of Embracer Group, is acquiring Beamdog, which is the studio that was remaking a lot of those Dungeons and Dragons games and stuff like Icewind Dale and
a lot of old BioWare games and Planescape Torment, and Beamdog itself was founded by some ex-BioWare people, including a co-founder.
And they just announced a new game called Myth Force, which I also talked about in Grubb Snacks a few weeks ago. Yeah. So I mean,
original game for them.
Yeah, for their first original game. Mike, you wrote about this a little bit. Anything like stand out to you about this acquisition?
Just the most interesting thing is that we know Aspyr. So they've already ported KOTOR 1, but they're remaking KOTOR. And now you have this studio that has already worked on a lot of old BioWare ports and stuff, right? Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to get any help from Beamdog in that regard, or if Beamdog's just going to keep doing sort of their own thing. We talked about this before. There's a lot of cross-pollination that can happen. That's why Sony wanted Bungie to help with all these live service things they're doing, if not straight up develop them. So there's got to be some collaboration there.
Yeah, I think they could be very helpful. I mean, we don't expect to get that KOTOR game for quite some time, and you're bringing in a talent that can really provide expertise on this specific type of game. Makes a lot of sense.
I wonder if we'll get the KOTOR 2 kind of port treatment that we just got from KOTOR 1, and I wonder if it can work in some of that stuff that the mods have done, especially with the ending of that game. Yeah.
I think that's exactly the way you do that. You do that to hold people over, and then you get everyone to work in earnest on KOTOR remake, and then you release that in a few years. All right, Mike. That does it for the news. I see we got some super chats, and I was wondering if you could read those for me.
Yes, and if you guys want to send in a question, you can do it in the super chat. We will read it before the show goes off the air. You can also join the channel now. In fact, Soul H became a Lincoln member during the show today, so thank you so much. So we appreciate that. You can click that join button next to the subscribe button. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button yet, you should also do that. Joining us will give you access to our secret Discord channels where you can engage with the community. You can ask us questions directly without having to do the super chat stuff. Get access to fun little things like the Q&A with Jeff and our special Jeopardy games and all sorts of goodies. So thank you very much again to Soul. Let's get to these super chats. The first one actually came from Ariel Delgado on Thursday. He said, "Happy Thursday, Meat Man. I come from the future." Seems to me like he came from the past, actually. What are your thoughts on Square having a ballin' Wonderworld world in Kingdom Hearts 4, but not in Arby's world? It's a grave injustice. It's not fair. I now disown this franchise. I agree with Jeff. It is shit. It has always been shit. How dare they?
I'm glad that Arby's ranks higher on the totem pole than Kingdom Hearts.
Brap, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast says, Jeff, Kojima, is it smoke and mirrors? Hey, Mike, it's not even smoke and mirrors. It's just Kojima kind of being aloof and right, like not understanding the consequences of his actions.
Yeah, and then lunatics taking like something that it doesn't mean anything and just imagining it means something. Yeah, it's marijuana smoke. Like people got really high and started imagining things. That's what it is. And then mirrors.
Boston Theory, thank you for joining the Lincoln tier. Appreciate
Thank you.
That. RDX Son of a Fett says, is 343 still working on a not infinite Halo game? So Jeff, are they working on the sequel to Halo Infinite or anything else, or are they just working on Halo Infinite content?
No, like are they working on a sequel to Halo? Is that what they asked?
Are they working on anything aside from Halo Infinite?
Yes. 343? Sorry, yeah. I'm trying to find the questions because we did it different this week. No, I don't know. They are just working on Halo.
They're just working on Halo Infinite specifically.
Yes, exactly.
They're not working on Halo Infinite 2 or Halo
No, it's all content for Halo Infinite.
Okay. That is supposed to be a 10-year game, right?
Yes.
A side quest says, hey, doggy dogs, I will be super chatting $1 every GamesBeat podcast until Grubb plays through Kingdom Hearts 1 through 3. P.S. Great show, guys. Well, first off, thank you. Second off, I don't think Jeff needed an extra incentive to not play the Kingdom Hearts trilogy, but there it is.
Yep, finally, thank you.
If anything, you should say, I'll give you $100 for each Kingdom Hearts game that he beats. Maybe then he'd care. Even then, I don't think that's enough money for him. How much money would someone have to pay you to beat Kingdom Hearts 1?
Pay me probably like $500.
$500.
I think that's a good price. Yeah, that's realistic and
enough to buy an arcade machine. Enough to buy
yeah, exactly. Pay a fraction of my upcoming mortgage. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Carl Lennon says, does Microsoft have to wait until the Activision Blizzard deal has finished before acquiring anyone? Certain Affinity announced only a partnership with 343 Industries, and I was wondering if they may be acquired then.
I mean, there's always that possibility. I think there's always like things like, they're giving them an audition. I think that we'll have to get that Monster Hunter game, the Monster Hunter Lite game first, or at least further in development of that before they decide whether or not they're going to acquire them.
Sam Young says, any thoughts on the theories this week about Breath of the Wild 2 being next gen only? Don't think this was covered on Nintendogs, but I didn't catch the whole show. Jeff, I didn't realize there was any buzz about this going on. I think we both think that seems unlikely, though. Unless, was there any reasoning behind this buzz, or is just people speculating?
Oh, which buzz?
About Breath of the Wild 2 being next gen only.
Yeah, I don't get that buzz at all. I don't know why people are making.
Jeff, you realize these are the super chats, right? You're asking about where the GamesBeat Decide question thread is.
Yes, because I can't find it yet. Yeah, that's coming up next.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
Oh no, that's why you're panicking.
Yes, I can't find because we decided to do the thread thing this week, and like I can't find it because I never actually did have done that before. So I'm like, oh no, I've screwed up.
Jeff, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yes, I believe in me too. Yeah, this is so. I don't think the Breath of the Wild is going to be a next gen only. No, it's going to be on this Switch.
Apparently came from Digital Foundry, started this whole thing. There was speculation from Digital Foundry based on the last trailer. I mean, there was remember when the sequel to Mario plus Rabbids, we all thought it looked too good to be a current gen game, right? And that's still coming out this year, so I don't know.
Yeah, and who knows? They might have some tricks to make this stuff work, so we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think it's the case.
Mm-hmm. Alexander Dark 91 says, with Halo Master Chief Collection, State of Decay 2, Age of Empires 2, and Sea of Thieves still getting updates, it seems weird Gears support has basically died. I think we are getting some form of new Gears game in 2023. Jeff, when are we getting the next Gears? I know that Coalition is working on... Yeah, because they're working on that other thing first, huh?
Yeah, they're going to do a smaller game first, and then they'll fully build Gears of War 6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, Gears 6.
Gears 6.
We can't call it. That still annoys me. Just Gears. Like, what the hell does that mean? Just Gears. You ask me, what's a game called Gears about? It's like, I don't know, building things. Well, how about a game with no building? Anything whatsoever. Gears of War makes sense because that's an allegory for, war. Like what it does to people. What it does to Gears is just nonsense. I don't know why that bothers me so much. I get really bothered by naming conventions.
Science needs
like
to like research you and find out what's wrong with you.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, why my brain is so broken. Evan Dan says, how expensive is it to make a boss fight / a set piece? I mean, there's so many variables here, Jeff, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it depends on the game. It's as expensive as anything else, I would imagine.
I imagine they don't budget games, though, by like boss fights and set pieces necessarily. They might get to a point like, well, we're low in development time. We maybe are going to cut a boss fight. But I don't think like going in, it's like, all right, we're going to have 5 boss fights and they're each going to cost this much money to make.
Right. Yeah. Radu Pericol Taganos in chat says $50. That sounds right. $50.
Yeah. Symbol the Rapper Music asks, do either of you own or played with the Resident Evil 4 GameCube chainsaw controller? No, I was not. I did not find that appealing as a kid.
I wanted one, but I never would have played a game with it. I would have just put it on a shelf or something.
That would be a pretty funny challenge, actually, to have to play through all Resident Evil 4 with that controller.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like you got to hold it like a real chainsaw. And there's like buttons up here and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Those must go for a lot now. Those must be hard to find. Divan Greedy says, now that we pass JPEG Now that we pass JPEG discussions, how about Jeff? Windows account on Twitter sent a tweet of Persona 5. Anything to be excited about? So did you see this whole thing where the Windows Twitter account kind of randomly replied to somebody else? It was like, ha ha ha, but yeah, Persona 5 was great. How many times have you guys beaten it? And including Royo, and everyone's like, "What are you What the hell?"
I don't
Persona 5 is really on anything. I don't know what the hell that was about. Yeah. I don't think they're self-announcing Persona 5 coming to more platforms.
Me neither, because they'll never do that because it's Sega and Atlas. And I don't think so. I'm not getting anyone's hopes up.
RDX Son of a Fett says, Jez said they are earlier this year. I think he's probably talking about 343 Industries, and if they are making a new game.
I mean, I would believe that they have like documents for another game in the future, but like, what does it mean, like working on? Do they have most of the studio working on a new game? I don't think so.
Radu Pericol Tagana says, just got a nice cash gift, so have a soda on me, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank
you. I just finished my soda. Now it's time for green tea. I've always got a steady supply of liquids by me. I just can't sit here and do this, Jeff, if I don't have something.
You gotta stay lubricated.
Yeah, lubricate is where it should be water more often than not. I'll tell you what, the water really makes me have to go to the bathroom though. It's probably a good thing, but I hate having to get up every 30 minutes. Tiny bladder. It sucks. Jeff, have you tracked down the Google Doc or the thread on Discord?
I have indeed. Yes. Are you done with the super chats?
We are done with the super chats for now. Again, if you guys want to send in more, we will get to them.
All right, here we go. From the Discord, like 15 people added me and said, Jeff. So thank you, everybody, for helping me find it. Let's see here. Winnie says, we know what kind of games are first party, and we know what kind of games are third party. We certainly know about Mario parties, but what are second party games? Games developed in the Soviet Union? Is Tetris the flagship second party game?
I have always, when you say second party, the first thing I always thought of, Jeff, was Rare.
Yep.
Rare on the Nintendo days. That was second party. Then, but like Rare for Microsoft was first party, right? I don't know.
It was first party
nebulous.
For Nintendo too. Like it
really was.
We just called it second party. It was something kind of created in like a few gaming magazines used that term and it became popular. But there's no such thing as second party. That's the reality.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah,
it's like, first person, third person. The books aren't really told in second person unless it's a choose your own adventure thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And
like second party is when you're the developer. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
if you made
Super
the
Mario,
game, then it's a
Super Mario
second party
Maker,
game.
Right? Little Big Planet. There you go. Those are second party
games.
Yes, exactly. Anything with UGC. Mostly just like really hone in on this. People will say Rare was a second party in Nintendo. Well, no, Nintendo was publishing those games. That makes it a first party game. That's the definition. That's how they view it. Even Sony has said this about Hideo Kojima Productions. Like, we view them as PlayStation Studios games when we publish them as PlayStation Studios games. So first party. From Muggsy, what's the latest on NetherRealm Studios /MK12? I haven't heard much recently, but the last thing is it still sounds like they're making Mortal Kombat 12, and they're doing it for the reasons that we said before, that they just weren't super certain about their future and be able to use the DC license. So, and Mortal Kombat 11 made a shit ton of money, and so they're like, let's make another one of those. We'll be fine. So
they better put Smoke in this one. That's all I'm saying. I like Smoke. He hasn't been in one in a bit.
Yeah, justice for Smoke. Definitely, everybody. Get that hashtag going.
Please.
From Bench JC. Hey, guys. Over the last 2-3 months, the whole game mess in its entirety, in my opinion, has really blossomed and evolved a lot. Any motivation to really push for it to be something more? Because a while ago, it was just a weekly podcast. Now it's so much more. Love the community you all have built. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of the thing. Like, I'm going to be closer to Mike. We'll be able to do more stuff in person. So, kind of as part of that, what can we do that is more? And it's develop out what game mess is and sort of do more stuff that in the nooks and crannies when we're not doing our GamesBeat work. So, it's going to keep growing. Absolutely.
Yep, for sure.
From Revan, who do I talk to about my 1099? We're gonna. I don't know. Oh, you're breaking up. You can't see it anymore. Oh God. Let's see. From Delta Prime 84. Hey Jeff, you've done a great job with spilling the beans on EA's upcoming stuff. But do you have any info you could share on what remasters and remakes EA has in the works beyond Dead Space? I don't know if they have a ton in the works that we haven't already heard about. That's the thing. I mean, I could ask around and see. Definitely seems like they got through a couple of them that they were trying to do, and now they're going to do Dead Space, like this big remake, and they'll probably kind of take it from there going forward. So I think it's why we haven't heard much.
There was a remastered Dragon Age Origin Signs on AEW, and that reignited that discussion again, Jeff. You had to tell everybody once again that it's not happening.
I know a lot of people want that, but it's not happening.
Yeah. You said it on Grubb. I hope that they do just remaster the first one.
Yep.
I don't even care about 2 and 3 very much, to be honest. 3 is just fine already, anyways.
Right.
2, honestly, for what it is also just fine how it is. Like, how much love and attention do we need to give? I'm not even saying Dragon Age 2 is a bad game like some people. How much remastering does it really need? Dragon Age 1, though, is a very good game that is a little... It still has a little bit like that old computer RPG stuff in it that's a little obtuse, and it's not very pretty. So there's a game that could be remastered.
From Turbo Madam. Hello, Kirby, mouthful of beef and cheddar boys.
Nice.
Yeah, fair enough. Not that long ago, I got the first ending of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Obviously, I love the game, but without spoiling anything, the final moments of Kirby's ending sequence reminded me of the final moments of Psychonauts 2. Even though I'm probably the only person who thinks this, Have you ever experienced this where you, after you beat one game, the ending reminds you of another game's ending when you're the only person who makes the connection? I mean, I've had similar things, but maybe not that exact scenario.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm having a hard time like immediately thinking of specifics. I kind of know what you mean though. There with Psychonauts 2 Kirby, I think Kirby's was better, but yeah, I know what you're vibing with.
Beef Hammer, happy Friday, fellow Miami Connection fans. With the House of the Dead remake getting pretty poor reviews, which one of you is going to buy it and play it for our amusement?
I was thinking about it. I didn't even realize it got reviewed too poorly. Because I saw one video about it that was mildly positive. But the big problem is like it's a light gun game without a light gun, and yeah, you have like you can use the Joy-Con, and it maybe approximates it, but not good enough, right? Mm-hmm. It's like that's the thing with light gun games. I really want to play a light gun game. That's like something I want to do at an arcade, right? That's where I want to play House of the Dead. Is I literally want to put in like 50 cents and play it for about 5 minutes and then get over it. So I probably don't want to spend like whatever it is, $40 or something, or even $20.
Is it on Steam? If it's on Steam, I'll just get it and go for it. But otherwise,
I think it's only on Switch.
Right?
Maybe I'm crazy. I think it's only on Switch. Yeah, so
maybe we'll do a stream and we'll set up a goal, and if we get to the goal, I'll just buy it.
I was always more of a Virtual Cop guy than House of the Dead guy, and then Time Crisis is the real. We all looked longingly at those boxes of Time Crisis, like with the gun for PlayStation 2, right? Like we all thought that would be super cool. Then, like when you do rent or something, like it turns out I don't want to play Time Crisis for
over
longer
and over
than 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they were perfect arcade games. Like they were events. There's something you probably didn't have at home. And they lasted they were like the right amount of money to get through a game with your friend or whatever. So yeah, they were perfect for the arcade. All right, from Turbo Sean, and I don't remember what this is a reference to, but I'm just gonna read it. Happy Friday, Mike. Kingdom Hearts, suck my dick, Minotti, and Jeff already regretting moving closer to Mike, Grubb. Nice. By the time Kingdom Hearts 4 releases, Jeff's family will be completely settled into their new home, and Mike will have at least 3 children of his own. Do you foresee this game being the thing that brings your families together, or are we going to have more of a Capulet and Montague situation on our hands? I mean, me and Mike are always
destined. McCoys is what I was thinking, but yeah, we're going to be mortal enemies.
Yeah, star-crossed enemies forever. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
as long as he's the one that ends up drinking it at the end, I'm going to live forever. Alex,
people will see me and cry.
Jeff, what are the chances of you ever playing Kingdom Hearts 4? I mean, listen, if it comes out and everyone says it's game of the year, I will try it.
That will not happen.
If it comes out and like fans are crying, I'm definitely gonna play it. Like if it like devastates fans, I'm like, hell yeah!
Oh, they
all right, time to feast.
Then it'll be your year. They'll be happy. There's a decent amount of crying about Kingdom Hearts 3, but I guess not enough for you.
Not enough, no. I did download it when it was on Game Pass, I think, and I never even tried it. From God Rizla, hey Jeff, being the biggest Kingdom Hearts fanboy, Grubb, and Mike Tidy Whitey Minotti. Given how Kingdom Hearts 4 was revealed, could we expect more of these kinds of announcements with E3 being canceled this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll get a lot of. I think it's what like a lot of companies like Activision and EA will do. They already weren't showing up at E3, but we know EA's not doing its own EA Play thing, so they're probably just going to announce stuff in tweets and in blog posts and YouTube videos. Godrista said that they live in the UK, ordered the shirt, and it's going to take about a month to get there. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you were at least able to order a shirt there, though. I wasn't sure how Spreadshirt did worldwide shipping, so at least it is going to get to you, Ed, and I hope it wasn't too expensive with the shipping. From Casual, dear Bouillon Boys, a mutual friend of yours has come across a smaller fortune and has made their dream of opening a deli come true. Now they're asking you to invent a signature sandwich to put on the menu. Here's the catch. You are constructing each other's sandwiches. What goes on it? It has to have at least 3 ingredients.
Shit, crap, and dung, or will be in Jeff's sandwich. I'll call it the exactly like Jeff Grubb's sandwich.
Mike's will have meat and cheese and poison, so he dies.
It'll kill me.
And I will call it the murder weapon. Minotti murder weapon.
Murder weapon, please. Ooh, no, I'm dying. You got me.
Oh man, what a good story.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Did I lose it? Okay, yes, we got that one. Mr. Bowler, hey, Beef and Cheddar Boys. Bug Snacks is getting DLC and coming to Xbox and Switch, and now is the perfect time for corporate tie-ins. You two are responsible for making Arby's themed Bug Snacks. What delicious creature are you guys going to add to this game?
Oh gosh, mozzarella sticks I think is the one that would make for the best Bug Snacks.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That'd be pretty good. I mean, they already got the bunger, so it'd be like.
They got fry.
They got fries.
Or
I mean, curly fry, like a little boingy curly fry, could be cool.
Yeah, they got springy. I wonder if that's even. Yeah, that'd be good. Springy curly fries. That's good.
Dr. Turbosus. Hey, B and C Lords. Hope all is well. I love Breath of the Wild so much that I couldn't go back to other 3D Zelda games. Tried Skyward Sword and it felt boring as hell. Has any new entry in a beloved franchise broken your interest in past games? That happens with me, like with every Mario Kart, where I'm like, I can't go back to the old Mario Karts now.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that's true for me. I'm so retro-y that I usually like going back to the old ones. I didn't have that problem with Zelda. I mean, I say that although I didn't like finish Skyward Sword, so maybe there's something to that. I don't know. We'll see. If I like somehow am way more bored of Wind Waker when I play it next time than I was before, maybe that'll be true there. I don't know.
Jedi Moss 4. Happy Friday, Jeff and Mike. My question is about Game Pass. We know based on reporting that Microsoft gives a check to publishers for games that are added to Game Pass as part of any Game Pass deal. Are there any additional payouts Microsoft gives for games that hit certain numbers on Game Pass? Yes, it's different. It's different game to game though. Every single contract is bespoke in that way. Some games do get extra money if they get people playing longer and stuff like that. But if you're a game that is small, that can be finished in a couple hours, you tend to try to get more money on the front end, and that's the way you're going to do that. But Microsoft recognizes that every game is different, and they don't want to create one model because they don't want one kind of game to rise to the top on Game Pass, which is already kind of happening with 4-player multiplayer games, like cooperative multiplayer games. We're already getting a lot of those. They want to make sure that there's still a lot of variety on Game Pass because they want to attract a variety of people to the service. So they're trying to be mindful of that. From Turbo Koto. Turbo Koto. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Happy Friday. Considering digital game subscription is becoming major and major in the industry, will we see a resurgence of the episodic games trend for single player experiences? I say no. What do you say, Mike?
I say, God, I hope not.
Yeah,
I was not a fan of that.
I mean,
Never was.
I don't like it with TV shows either. Like I like it to be I like everything to be there. I've really gotten to the point where, like with these weekly releases, I know everyone says they love weekly releases. It's not for me. I'm just that's the way my brain works. At this point, I've decided I'm just going to wait until they're completely on the service, and then if I hear it's not good, I'm just not going to watch it at all. And if it's good, if it is good, I'll just watch it all on my own time. So I don't want games to do that either. Oh, yeah, weekly's not good. But
I've been making my way through the Monkey Island games, and it is going to be weird with the last one because it was the Telltale one, and I played it episodic before, and I'm wondering, like, man, what's it going to be like just playing it all as one thing? But it's like still going to be episodic. Like I'm still have to open up 5 different programs to play it all. It's just weird.
Let's see. Jamie H. Hey guys, became a dad a little over 2 months ago. Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was able to finish Kirby in short bursts thanks to the Switch's pick up and play ability. I don't think I'll get around to my PS5 and Xbox catalog until the end of the year when he's on a proper nap and bedtime schedule. My question is mainly for Jeff. Are there any games that came out when your kids were born that you've still yet to get around to? I suppose Mike can answer too if he's had any big life events that meant he didn't/couldn't game for a while.
Not really. Mikey lives free.
Mikey's a bird, everybody. Mikey has to be free. So Breath of the Wild came out right then, and I got my Switch right then for review, and she was like 2 months old, like a month and a half old. And that was great because the Switch enabled me to play a bunch of games. And that's right when also it was like, I stopped playing a lot of games on the TV at that point because I just didn't have as much time. So, I mean, there's still be stuff that I wanted to play more Horizon, Forbidden or Zero Dawn and stuff like that. And I just never got back around to it. I used to play more Call of Duty multiplayer at that point, and then I just stopped doing that as well. I don't do that at all anymore. But it's mostly like, I'm also okay with that for the most part. The games that I want to play now, I do have the Steam Deck. that does fit into my life better. If it's on there, I'll play it, but like I'm also not trying to like go back to Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty like ends up on one of these systems I could play on. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's time to get back in that Call of Duty life. I'm past that. So a lot of that is like, okay, the way I could use my time changed, but also I changed. So it's kind of happened all at the same time. From Velocity Prime 1. Happy Friday to La Familia, de Beef and Cheddar.
Salute me, familia!
Lots of posts about the Let Me Solo Her guy in Elden Ring, who will come in and wreck shop on the hardest boss in the game. It's an incredible story. People should Google Let Me Solo Her if you haven't seen that yet. So my question is, what could you solo for people, i.e. swoop in and do without breaking a sweat that others struggle with? I don't know. I could get you good times in Astro's Playroom if you need me to do that. I can beat
Quick Man's level in Mega Man 2 without using Flashman's ability to stop the laser beams for you. There you go.
I mean, I could probably beat like all of Super Mario Brothers without getting hit. Like, yeah, that's not. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people could do that. Although,
go stop being hard on yourself. That's impressive enough.
Fair enough. All right. Let's see. VJ incoming. Holy fuck! It's the weekend. Jeff and Mike.
I don't believe you.
If you both were to write a hard drive article about each other specifically, what would be the headline? Doesn't have to mention your name specifically, but very clearly themed towards what we know about yourselves. I think Mike's would be like, Area Man truly claims he isn't sad about spending weekend inside with Kingdom Hearts by himself.
I mean, something about Colorado Man buys calendar. Some kind of organizational tool. I wouldn't believe it.
Doesn't work. It still doesn't work. Epic Turbo World. Rank these in order they will come out. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, Kingdom Hearts 4, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, and the PS6. I think the first one to come out is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. My God, I just lost all the questions.
Nice. You're funny, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
I think... Is it crazy? I think Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out first. I think it does. I mean, we haven't heard anything about Final Fantasy VII Part 2 yet. Although, once again, those people must have just started working on that right afterwards. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 4 and Final Fantasy VII Part 2 are kind of neck and neck. And then it'll be Final Fantasy VII Part 3 and then PlayStation 6.
So you think Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 comes out on these systems?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's probably right. But I could also see a world where Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is like, all right, it's a launch game for the PS6 or something.
It could be like what the first part was, where it came out at the end of PlayStation 4 and then got a boost on the new systems. But I think it will come out before PlayStation 6.
From Hosp. Hey, yo, boys. After almost throwing the Switch out of the window trying to complete those bullshit races in Lego DC Villains so my mother can 100% the game.
Wow.
What are your worst gaming experiences? You know a game is bad when the crocodile was the best handling vehicle. Fair enough, yeah. That sounds like a very specific scenario, but it sounds like you came out on the other side. I hope she was able to 100% it. I mean, look, listen, when I was doing like the jelly ship, I don't want to keep harping on it, but like the ship stuff in Kingdom Hearts is what.
Oh my God.
I know, I'm sorry. That's what it comes
jelly
to
ship,
mind.
The gummy ship for one thing.
Gummy, whatever. Ship. Whatever it is. That's when I was like, what is this horseshit? What is this game?
God. It's just a simple Star Fox clone. It's very simple. Just shoot things.
But even like it's like, wait, how am I getting from level to level? Like, how am I even navigating? Like, what is it?
You're not navigating. It's just a corridor. You just keep going. You'll be fine.
I think I got in a loop of some sort. No, I don't know. It was maybe I'm still an old man. But yeah, I don't know. That's the one that jumps to mind for me, probably because we've been talking about Kingdom Hearts so much. Do you have one, Mike?
I was just thinking about MMO experiences where a group is stuck on a boss. You're doing raiding. And raiding can be a lot. There's a lot of highs in raiding. There's a lot of lows in raiding where you're all just stuck on the same boss. And because there's like 8 to 20 of you, it just takes one person to like have a mental lapse and make a mistake. And it's like if it's not you, you get frustrated. It's like, oh, this guy did it. And then when it is you, you feel very bad and very self-conscious. So in fact, my Final Fantasy 14 like raid group like fell apart, and part of me is like, I don't think I'm gonna miss it. I think I'm okay not doing the hardest core of the hardcore raiding for a while. I'm okay just doing the slightly more casual stuff there and having fun leveling up my characters.
Sorry, I gotta put Turbo Sean in timeout for saying the truth.
Turbo Sean noticing that Mike Minotti had very little trouble using his new thread format for these questions, and Jeff Grubb just completely thrown off by it. I can't handle it.
Okay, I see how it works now. Oh my God, I just now figured it out. Okay, shut up, everybody. Shut up. Actually, people in chat mentioned Battle in Wonderworld. Yeah, when I played Battle in Wonderworld, and like you heard, every button does the same thing. But then you do that and you get to a point where you need to jump and you're in a suit that doesn't have a jump button. And you're like, what the? How does anyone make a game like this? So yeah, that's probably actually a better example. From Laushin, hey fellas, hope your week went well and you have a fun Easter weekend. My question for the week, Jeff, how much of a donation would it take for you to platinum Kingdom Hearts 4? Right?
Platinum.
There's no amount of money that I don't want to platinum fucking Kingdom Hearts. That sounds disgusting. Mike, if Universal Studios wanted to make a Kingdom Hearts knockoff, who would be the developer / publisher?
Oh, it'd have to be somebody real. Who made that Popeye game on the Switch that everyone hated? It should be those people.
What characters would be the Donald and Goofy roles?
So Woody Woodpecker and Popeye, right? Yeah, it's funny because they have a bunch of Woody Woodpecker and Fievel from Fievel Goes West. Like those are like the weird hand-me-down characters they have to use in those parks, and like just whatever else they can get licensing agreements with, like random Hanna-Barbera characters, SpongeBob SquarePants, fucking Dogwood, like Hagar the Horrible, and like shit like that. It would actually be incredible to make like a low-rec Kingdom Hearts like that.
Agda says, why is Call of Duty so popular? Like, really, I get it. It's a well-made game with a lot of engaging elements, especially in multiplayer, but the degree of its popularity after so mumuch time is kind of baffling. Is it just the big thing gets bigger? Also, guns are cool because of our jingoistic culture. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like it nails some fundamental stuff. It feels good to move. It feels good to shoot. It's fast-paced. It's twitchy. You can sort of turn off your brain and just react. That's the stuff I liked about it when I played it. I was on TikTok and I was scrolling through, and it's just the TikTok's like, here's Dane Cook pointing his phone at Call of Duty and he's playing with his friends. I'm like, okay, I forgot Dane Cook existed, but I guess that's what he's doing now. It's just playing Call of Duty. It's just, the kind of thing like everyone just kind of gloms onto. It has a very short and easy onboarding process. You know what to do immediately, and it's fun to do that thing.
Yeah, then at a certain point, things just kind of become like they have all this. Yeah, they become ingrained, right? Like a Star Wars or like even like an NFL or something like that, and it just it happened with Call of Duty. It was just popular and good for long enough, and they did like keep up that ridiculous like 1 year's launch cycle. That it's just a part of how things work now.
From Jake Bogdanoff. Hello, fellow Arby's enthusiast. Man, I should get Arby's today. Two-part question. One, Injustice 3 was in the NVIDIA leak. Is that realistic to hope for? Two, how do I get my wife to respect Arby's? I don't think it's I think the thing is like the name that they used for Injustice 3 was something like that was on like a fan page or something like that. But I don't think it's unrealistic to hope for. If even if they're making Mortal Kombat 12, they probably also have stuff in place for an Injustice 3 at some point. So, yeah, I still think it could happen, especially if NetherRealm stays at Warner. And how does he get his wife to respect Arby's?
Divorce.
That's how, you know what? You're right.
No,
this is not your job. This is not your job. You divorce her.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Gosh, maybe you should just buy her one of the, well, you can't buy them a meat suit.
You know what you do? No, here's what you do.
Buy them the Gowan hat, and maybe then they'll understand.
No, you lie. You go to Arby's. Go get one of their market fresh sandwiches, okay?
Oh.
Come on.
Pepsi challenge.
Unwrap it. Yes. Pretend like you made her lunch. Say, hey, look, I went to the store. I was just craving like a fresh sandwich. I made this for you. Have her eat it. Ask her what she thinks. And when she says this is a really good sandwich because it is, you say it's from Arby's. And if she like spits it out, then you divorce her. From Jaden. Hey, Jeff, got a question. Have you heard anything related to Marvel versus Capcom? I remember hearing rumors of a new one and one of the older ones being ported. I mean, I don't know. The whole Capcom working with Marvel and Disney again. I mean, I don't know. John Drake seems like he's willing to make deals. It seems like he's very much trying to be the guy that gets those deals done. Still, though, I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about Capcom coming in and pulling that off again?
It'll be hard. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was so clearly like a lesser than effort, and it was also like stymied by like an MCU directive in terms of like what characters they can have in there and or not. If they want to do Marvel's Capcom again, like they're gonna have to really go all out for it. They're gonna have to spend a lot of money on it, and again, it's gonna be kind of risky because Infinite didn't do very well and people weren't very happy with Infinite. Now, I think the Marvel's Capcom 2 remaster or just ports, I think that's going to happen, and maybe that's all I really want anyway.
Yeah. I kind of want like just a collection of all the Versus games from that era. Actually, that would be cool.
I just need, even then, I just need 2. Just give me Marvel's Capcom 2. It'll be sweet to have Street Fighter versus X-Men and all that stuff also,
but you're right.
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
know.
You're right. Because it's basically like the third strike of that whole concept. You're right.
I mean, there is something like that game is so ridiculous, and it's 3 versus 3, and it's very faster. It's a different vibe than some of the earlier ones for sure, but it's just the one I like, so I'm selfish.
All right, from Pennywise. Hey, Jeff, so I'm a Colorado native, and a part of me feels a bit responsible for your current predicament. Over the last couple of decades, I have seen my state explode in population, so I have been praying to the eldritch gods for many a moon to send all these transplants back to where they came from and leave my state in peace. Yes, this is you are not alone in praying for this. You all have done this. I did not understand that the deal I made would force you and your family to relocate closer to Mike, the Eldritch Lord Hearts, and subject your entire family to Sora's nightmare. You see, look what you've done to me. Is there anything I can do to make this right? I'm feeling a bit like Walter White right now. What have I done? Yeah, I mean, listen, we were like trying to make it happen here. We were looking around, and it is just absurdly expensive. And it got to a point where we had to do what we had to do. And I think there's nothing you could do to make it right. Other than if you ever become a billionaire, you give me some millions and I'll come back and buy like a lodge or something. I'll buy a hut here.
Jeff will be happier soon. He's coming back where he belongs. Yeah. Everyone, you can't escape Ohio. You can just leave momentarily.
I'm still very Midwest, and I will always be Midwest. And I have no problem going back to Ohio, especially the Cleveland area is a place I've never really lived before, and I've always really liked every time I've been there. So I'm excited.
Very nice.
From Gerber. Happy Easter, guys, if you were into that sort of thing. I mean, I love celebrating Easter with the kids and stuff like that. They love all the stuff we do.
I like celebrating our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Jeff.
Who's that? Considering just how massive a hit Elden Ring has been so far, especially on PC, is it even credible to believe that Sony would cut a check big enough to get From to make another Bloodborne instead of another multi-platform game? P.S. Given the day that's in it, have either of you seen Bob Hoskins' second best film, The Long Good Friday? I actually haven't, but I've heard good things, so I've always wanted to check it out.
Wait, what's Bob Hoskins' first best film? Is it Super Mario Brothers, or is it Who Framed Roger? Okay, it's Mario Brothers. Yeah. Funny, nice. God, now I'm just thinking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. How I'm sad that won't ever be in Kingdom Hearts because Amblin and Steven Spielberg are involved there, and it's just hard to make deals there. What was the question again? Now I can't remember.
So with From having such a big success,
yes.
I think
Bloodborne 2.
It is. I think it's still possible because think about what Sony was thinking about money having. They were going to do Starfield, and if they're willing to spend that kind of money, because Starfield would have been a huge check. Then they could do Bloodborne 2, and now the proof is in the pudding that might even be worth it. So I think they could do it.
The problem is I think so much of their money now is being spent on these live service games, right? And maybe that's just the priority. Maybe they don't want to do that and foot a bill for a Bloodborne 2.
I love Skyline. Sorry, just answering chat. You might be right about that, but I mean, God, Bloodborne 2 would be such a huge deal.
It would be.
I don't know.
Well, it would be, but it's also, could they just make actually Bloodborne 2, or does it need to also be an open world game now? Right? Or are those the expectations?
That's a good point.
A very big proposition.
Turbo Sheldon, happy Friday, guys. No question for me this week. Just a reminder to you two and everyone watching / listening live that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern is our second ever Splatoon 2 game night. I think we even have a theme for this evening, thanks to Jeff and Hard Drive. Hard Drive posted a story that said Splatoon's doing an event for tits versus ass, which I'm like, very good. So our event is Team Pyra and Mithra versus Team Street Fighter 6 Cammy.
Wait, does Street Fighter 6 Cammy exist yet? Do we know what she looks like? Is this a development?
I think I made one of the week's the podcast art album art. I made it wide Cammy, and it was just Cammy's butt, but made even wider.
That's funny.
So that's our Cammy from Street Fighter 6.
Wow.
All right.
Just all the mommy characters. I mean, I already started 13 Sentinels last night, so like video games have already gotten too horny for me. But sure, we can do it.
Mike, let's just answer it plainly. We don't have to go into it because we don't have to like make it like. Are you on Team Pyra Myth or Team Street Fighter 6 Cammy?
Oh, Street Fighter 6 Cammy. Pyra and Mytha are obviously very attractive, but almost panderingly so. It's like it's just like too much. It's like a bunch of weird, gross men went into a room and like created perfect women. It's a bit much.
And Cammy's butt in a thong just facing you when she wins. It's just class. That's just class.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's tasteful.
I'm Cammy as well. From Zach Housen. I'm Cammy as well, and all that entails, which means butts. From Zach Housen. Avalon was continuing his crusade against Obsidian last week by trying to imply that Avowed was in trouble. That all the leads were leaving, and that just his article from a few months back was the work of a useful mouthpiece to push a positive narrative. Safe to assume he's just trying to cause trouble again and shouldn't be taken seriously. I'm going to allege that Chris Avalon is alleging things and doesn't know, and allegedly doesn't know what he's talking about. I allegedly don't want to be sued allegedly by Chris Avalon, so I am being allegedly very careful. I wouldn't take. I'm not taking him seriously. It's an unreliable source, allegedly. From Major Blazer. Hi guys, what is the best burger? What a good question.
Best burger is just it's a smash burger first off, with a toasted bun and just one or two distinct patties, American cheese, and just one of those normal tangy burger sauces. That's it. Nothing else. No tomato, no lettuce, no pickle. Although I almost, even though I don't like pickles, I almost get it. I get what they bring. I think the tangy sauce can just also accomplish that. I do want something tangy on there, even if it's a barbecue sauce. But I don't like those thick hockey puck burgers, like those steakhouse burgers. No, like really thin smash burgers with all those crispy bits. That's good. We're getting Cleveland has this amazing place called Swenson's, and they're opening one up near me, and I am very excited for it. But we even also have another small place here called Sespe Burger that does the same thing. Like, I don't eat very many cheeseburgers anymore because I am older than 30, and I want to live for a while. So if I do get a cheeseburger now. Like, I'm not getting my Wendy's or my McDonald's anymore. Nothing against those things, but it's such a rare treat now that I am going to try to get like a really nice, fun burger.
I like smash burgers as well. I think for me though, I like the Red Robin stuff actually. Like if you put a Red Robin with like the fried egg and all this stuff on it, I really like something like that.
Everyone's all about those putting eggs on everything. I'm not against eggs, but I've never been a big. That,
yeah.
Yeah, I just like the endless fries at Red Robin, and you have just put like a ton of that seasoning salt on them.
All right, Javier Morbius,
Morbius, like the smash hit film.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Jeff and Mike. Since a No More Heroes 3 port just got announced for PlayStation and Xbox, which should run better than the Switch version, is it finally time for you two to get into this amazing franchise?
No. Man, I'll tell you what, just no interest whatsoever. I'm about as interested in that as I am in watching the Halo show. Just don't have any interest in it. Don't care.
I'm a little bit more interested in that, but this is not the time for me. I'm fine playing it on the Switch, even if it runs a little bit slower, or I'll play it on Steam Deck. But I don't know. I'm just not that into it. It'd
be one thing if I heard all this buzz around No More Heroes 3, right?
Right, but like what you hear is like. Oh, the open world is very fun, and that's kind of what I experienced when I played that much on the Switch. So, yeah. From Keywork with our final one from the community this week. Sup, boys? Steam Deck has arrived. Playing all kinds of stuff on it and having a great time. My question today is for Jeff. After a month of use, what updates and changes could you see if Valve makes a new model? P.S. Having a real hard time navigating the desktop without mouse and keyboard. Any advice on a cheap USB-C hub that won't brick my deck? Thanks. That last question, I don't know, you want to get one that you could plug into the wall. I have a Razer one that has like Thunderbolt 4, so it's not affordable, so it's not cheap. I'd have to look, but like you want to get one you can plug in the wall. I bet if you go to like Reddit, r/Steam Deck, there's some recommendations already. I will say that make sure that you hit the Steam button and X, and that brings up your keyboard. So if you need a keyboard, like as long as you have Steam open in desktop mode, it makes it much easier to navigate in desktop mode. So definitely give that a try. The kinds of updates that they should make with a revision, I mean, it should be smaller and kind of just like overall just like a little bit more svelte. I don't know if it ever needs to be like pocket sized. That doesn't seem like
I get a Steam Deck SP.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do they do something like that? Do they do one that is just like another tier off to the side that is like smaller and but I don't know because like you need like the active cooling and stuff like that. The upcoming generation of Ryzen chips that they could be putting in there should be even more efficient, and that's like a really good sign. Like they could keep the same amount of power and have a lot more battery life and a lot less cooling, and that could be very good. And maybe that's the update that I really think they should focus on more than anything else. Is just like get to a point where you can have the same amount of power because the power is pretty good for where it needs to be for a handheld device, and instead just focus on getting that longer battery life and maybe laying off the fan a little bit. Because I know that my model is actually pretty quiet once it gets up and running. A lot of people are saying the new models have different fans that are louder and whinier, and that's a shame. So hopefully they could do something about that. Okay. Yeah, Mike, that does it for the community questions. Did we get any more super chats?
We did. Radu Perigal Tagana says, just got a nice cash gift, so have a... Oh, wait, he already said that about a soda. Well, he has another one. Actually, I do have a question. Why did we go from emoticons to emojis? WTF, emoticons for a life. Man, I don't even know the difference. I didn't realize those are two different things. I thought that's just the same word for the same thing.
I mean, emoticons were just the text version, right? Just the ASCII version. Like you would just put down a colon and a parentheses and then have a smiley face. And emojis are just like actual, like, okay, we had an artist interpret this, right? That's the difference.
Yeah.
I was never an emoticon guy. I never was like, oh, I'm going to communicate with smiley faces in my emails.
Oh, I do that all the time when texting, and you know that, but mostly out of fear of people thinking that I'm like mad or being mean or something.
Yeah,
so
I just use a lot of exclamation points. That's what I do. I'm like, I'm excited to be talking to you over email.
Ariel Delgado says, any news on Namco's Xbox Killer Instinct collaboration?
Like the new one that they might be doing. I mean, no, I haven't heard much new. I think there's always talks about like what studio would be doing it. I'm not sure. I kind of hope it's like Bandai Namco, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to make that connection.
And then from Wolf Assassin, Xbox Showcase still on track for June, Jeff? Do you have any inkling what could possibly be there besides Starfield or Forza Motorsport? Also, how do you like Sora being final fantasized? Lol. Well, we know he loves the feats, so we can just move past that question, Jeff. He's a big fan of the featsies. It was Xbox Showcase still on track for June, and what's going to be there aside from Starfield and Forza?
I don't know yet, so I won't try to like, because if you were like, do I know what's going to be there? No, I don't. I'll keep asking around, but I haven't like, we're still in April. As we get into May, maybe things will be locked down and it'll feel like easier to track that stuff down. And maybe I'll say something then, but like even when I know, like I did last year, I probably won't spoil too much of what's going to be in these showcases exactly. Especially if the whole reason for the showcase is here are new game announcements. I think you're going to get those announcements. We'll be okay. But like something like, okay, Star Wars Celebration is happening. If you're a gamer, should you be paying attention? Yeah, you should, because they're probably going to show the sequel to Star Wars Jedi there. So show up for that. But yeah, I don't know. I'll keep my ear to the ground and see what we can find out.
All right, Jeff, that is it for the super chats. If you guys want to squeeze any more in there, we will get to them because we're going to talk a little bit about some games we've been playing. Jeff, have you been playing anything special?
Just more Kirby. It keeps getting better. Like it's a good game that was like, oh yeah, they do have a ton of ideas in this game. So I played through like the kind of the first area, got a little bit further into that. I've been I kind of lost momentum on Tunic, I think.
You were really high on it for a little bit there, and it kind of like it like shifts a little bit, and I'm like, I mean, it's still a good game. I still want to beat it, but I definitely lost momentum on it, and I want to be honest about my experience with the game. Like, yeah, I loved it, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of see how people could bounce off of this. What can you be more specific? Like, what happened?
I feel like it's I guess it's kind of I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a Zelda game, so should it be that much of a surprise? You kind of go to a dark world sort of thing, and your upgrades don't matter as much. At least I can't see a way to make them matter. And it kind of feels like, oh, I did all that work, and maybe this doesn't last forever. It probably doesn't. Things probably go back to normal pretty soon. But I'm just like, oh man, I did all that work. So like now I get into combat scenarios, and it's hard in a way that I feel like it probably shouldn't be. And I'm like, when I die, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of think I don't want to be dying right now. And so
that does sound frustrating. Actually,
it's just enough to like kind of put me off the mood. It put me off the mood. Is kind of what happens. So. I still think the music's incredible. I still really like the look of the game and the feel of the game, and all the exploration stuff and the way that they force that perspective so that they can hide their secrets. All that's a really good idea. I just maybe this just kind of feels like a lull to me in the overall momentum of the game. Death's Door better than? No, I'll try Death's Door again, but no, still no. Any other super chats, Mike?
Oh, no, super chat.
No, yeah, we're doing our games now. Sorry, I lost track of everything.
Yeah, so you're like, well, I talked about my things. I guess the show's over, right, Mike? Yeah.
Mike,
don't you want to hear about all the naked teenagers that keep shoving in my face?
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said there's a lot of naked people in 13 Sentinels, I was gonna be, aren't they teenagers, right?
Yeah, that is. I mean, gosh, that's just always Japan, right? Like they're like that's just the go-to. Like their ideal age for sexy people is 16. It's just something we have to all deal with, I guess, right? It's just like, okay.
Yes. Does seem like we have to deal with it.
Can't they just make them even to be clear, even 18-year-olds is like, that's weirdly young anymore. But it's like, no, these are, to be clear, this is their first year of high school. It's like, okay, thank you for letting me know that. Fantastic. Yeah. The game almost lost me at the very beginning. So it's, this is that Vanillaware RPG, and it's out on Switch now. And like all Vanillaware games, it looks very, very good. But like immediately it's like, oh, the high school girl has to go inside a giant mech. Oh, and wouldn't you know it, when they're in the giant mechs, they all have to be naked. And they also like are positioned in the mechs in such a way where like, yes, the bits are covered, but they're like, their asses up, and it's just all very suggestive and weird. And then they're like 20 minutes after that, there was a gay panic joke, and I'm like, what's going on here? But it mellowed out a bit, or maybe I became numb to it, and the game looks really good, and the story is certainly intriguing. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's being told in this really like non-linear way. That's interesting. And then the combat's basically like Into the Breach / XCOM with a little bit of tower defense. So that's fun. I think I'm also having fun with it because I really actually somehow knew very little about this game. Everybody just talked about how much they liked it, but I didn't really understand what kind of game it was. I knew it was some kind of RPG. So I guess like the discovery sense has been fun.
There's like a strategy element, and then there's like all these like story branching paths, right?
And it's interesting is that now that I finished like the quote unquote like tutorial that took about a couple hours, it seems like I could just choose to do all the combat stuff or do the story stuff. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like mixed in on its own, and I'm interested to see what that is like. Yeah, people are a bit telling me like, well, there's actually a really good story reason why they're naked, and that just gives me so many Kojima vibes with quiet.
Forget your words and deeds. Yep.
Like, to be clear, I think that their desire to make characters naked came before the story justifications for it. Call me crazy.
I always love that whole line of reasoning. It's like, well, they get to invent anything. They're the writers. That's how it works.
Right. Yeah, that's like that. There's that incredible tweet, maybe the best tweet ever, where it was like the screen cap of J.K. Rowling saying that Hermione should have ended up with Harry Potter versus like, bitch, you wrote it.
Oh, I love that. It's so good.
It is.
So this game, I have heard the story's amazing. Have you gotten to those parts yet where it's like, oh, the stuff it's doing can only be happening in games and it's incredible? Have you felt anything like that?
Little bit, like it's incredibly non-linear in a way that like a TV show or movie probably could never do. So that's been interesting, and I'm certainly interested. And it's also so it jumps around between different characters, kind of like what Octopath did. And Octopath, I found it really obnoxious because it's non-linear. It's like, oh, now I'm just like watching the first chapter of 8 different stories, and that just means all set up. And they're doing it in a way here that's intertwined much better, and it all seems to be connected in ways that maybe don't make. It's like Lost, actually. Remember how Lost, each episode would star a different character? It feels kind of like that. Okay. And it's, there's a big mystery going on, except since they just made this thing all at once, it might all kind of actually work together and have a satisfying conclusion. I'm wondering. So, again, I started last night and ended up playing it in bed for like 2 or 3 hours. So it definitely grabbed me at some point. So
That's good.
I'm going to be going with it for a bit, even though, it's one of those things, Jeff. Like, I always want to talk about it more and wonder about it more, but I'm also just afraid to talk about naked 16-year-olds. So
I understand. I mean, listen, it seems like people were like, okay, the game like didn't exactly full. I mean, people seem to feel like it justified it, and in a way that it's like you could talk about this game without being a creepo. So I think it could be okay. I get what you mean, but I think you're safe. I also got the play date.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got a crank. Let me just pull it out. I can't show much of it still until.
Speaking about 13 Sentinels, here's something you can crank.
Yeah. Speaking about naked Tina, okay, god damn it.
God damn it.
God damn it. All right, the show has been pulled off the air, everybody. I'm sorry, the FCC is breaking down my door. Yeah, it is the play day. It's kind of all I can say. I'll be able to talk about it more very soon. But I'll say for the most part, it looks fun, right? Doesn't it look fun? It's cute and tiny, and I guess here's my phone for comparison. It's like smaller than, a phone. I don't know.
I can't how thin it is.
It's very thin. It's very tiny. Yes, it's good. But it still has a 3.5 millimeter jack in case you want to put in your headphones.
But so the games aren't on these things. Did they like glorify like WarioWare kind of games, right? Like they're not getting anything real substantial here.
I can't say much, but they are. Many of them are more substantial than that. Many of them are. Like there are just straight up. There's multiple straight up RPGs. So yes, more substantial, and then they come from like all kinds of really great developers that like are that have made great stuff. It was funny. I was like going through like this thing. It was delayed a couple times. I was going through the credits a couple times, and it was like, this one was made in 2020, and like that's where the copyright's from. So it's like these games were made a couple of years ago for this thing. So I guess we're finally gonna get a chance to play it. But all right.
Jeff, this isn't a super chat, but Hey You Peekaboo asks, will you crank it together with Mike when you move? Seems like a nice thing to do with friends. Which also, by the way, I like that name because I remember when Maribel or whatever was one of the first Gen 2 Pokemon we saw a pixture of, and we didn't know what her name was, so we just called her Peekaboo because it looked like Pikachu but blue.
Possibility. That's the Pixel 6 Pro. That's what the phone is. Okay, Mike, let's wrap this up. I'm
not done with my games.
Mike, what other games you been playing?
I beat the Curse of Monkey Island. Doing that marathon. Yeah, I think it's still my favorite one. I still love the voice acting in that game is very good. The actual all the hand-drawn characters and all the background art still looks fantastic. The ending is a bit rushed, and they literally ran out of budget, and that's why it is. But even still, I forgive it for that. And then Jeff, Final Fantasy 14 got its first big post-expansion launch patch. Stop cranking it. And it's a very good patch. Shocking, I know, but it has added new story content, which like the whole kind of theme here is like we're gonna just go now that we've saved the galaxy, we can go on a slightly more low-key adventure, and it'll be fun. And that's been nice. But there's still all those characters that we liked there. New dungeon, that's fun. A new alliance raid. And the alliance raids are great. It's basically like the normal difficulty raids. And it's the one that you do with a lot of people. So it's 24 people in one of these. So it's almost like a cluster, but in a fun way. And there still are like, intense mechanics and whatnot. It's not like the raids I was doing, it would be like, okay, you're probably going to die 50 times before you can beat it. And you better look at these guides. This isn't that. You probably are. You have a good chance of winning your first time. You can kind of go in blind and still have fun with it. But they are all like expertly crafted and really thematically interesting and have really cool bosses. The surprising thing here is that Final Fantasy 14's weakness for a long time has been PvP. And this adds this new PvP mode called Crystal Conflict, which is a bit like a payload from something like Overwatch. You're like kind of pushing a cart. It's just 5 versus 5, and they've reworked PvP abilities to kind of streamline a bit. And it has been very fun so far.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah, so
that just seems like the game does everything. It just keeps like throwing more stuff at you than you ever could expect.
Yeah. So I've been really enjoying this patch so far. Maybe next week I'm going to have to write about it because just been having a lot of fun. I'll probably play some more PvP after this. Oh, thank you for the link to my Twitch there, TurboStone. Yes, we'll be doing Escape from Monkey Island next. We're getting away through all the Monkey Island games. Escape's going to be interesting, Jeff. Like Curse of Monkey Island, I've probably beaten 20 times in my life. Escape, I beat one time when it came out. So it'll be a lot harder. to remember what I'm
Does it have the
supposed to do.
same like H hint since like that you press H on the keyboard to get a hint?
No,
Okay.
that's only in the 1-2 remasters, and then if I think Tales of Monkey Island just had that kind of stuff built in. But yeah, no, not for Escape. I'll just have to make AJ or somebody go and find solutions for me after a while. I've been having some people in chat just like show up because I'm playing these games.
Right, people that are like on Twitch or
lost.
like probably fans of the games, and they're like, okay, that's always nice. I've had that happen a couple times. They're always very helpful because it's like their thing. I always appreciate that. Any other games, Mike?
That's it. You know, it's not a super chat yet, but do send Capcom here is asking if we know anything about the Resident Evil Village DLC. And for some reason, I randomly feel like throwing him a bone because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know anything either. We haven't heard anything about it in a long time, right? They haven't said much.
I didn't even know that there was like a DLC, like a single. I don't know what kind of DLC. I forget. Does that game even have a Mercenaries mode? Does it have multiplayer?
We're supposed to get that. That didn't it get delayed. What was it? Reverse was that, or is that on the last game?
Yeah.
Reverse.
I can't even keep track of it anymore.
Evil. I spelled evil with an extra E. I don't know if did they ever actually release that thing. I think it is set for a 2022 release with the download code included as part of the bundle with Resident Evil Village purchases. So I don't think it ever came out. I don't think that's what they're referring to. So yeah, we don't know much about the specific.
They did like
expansion.
A Chris Redfield like campaign, seeing more of what he was up to and whatnot. We'll see. Oh, you know what? Eddie Brock here. He says he adds us in Discord. I'll throw it out there too. Do you think Telltale is going to lose the Lego license?
I think that they probably will lose it for a little bit. Yes. I think like this last one seemed like it was an all out. They were going to make it happen. I think that Lego's probably going to try to shop around, see if they can get a little bit more money. They already have the deal with 2K. They're probably going to like stick with that for a while, see if it can like build into something even bigger than the Lego games we've had before. And then I bet in a couple of years, Traveler's Tales and Lego get back together and start making games together again. Because I bet we'll be like, I remember when we did that all the time and it worked pretty well and everyone was pretty happy. Let's just go back to that. So I think that's how it's going to go.
All right, no more freebies. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I don't know why I'm doing the ending here. That's your thing. This is your show, Jeff.
Mike, where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter at Tokoto. Like, what's that called? ElonMusk.com.
ElonMusk.com.
Yeah, twitch.tv/Tokoto. We'll be getting back into that Monkey Island life soon. Go to GamesBeat.com. Check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast, and we'll be back on Tuesday with Last of the Nintendogs.
I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I really hope people show up for the Splatoon thing tonight. Go to our Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. Go in there. There's a community game nights channel inside there. You'll get all the details coming out with VJ and Sean, who set this up for us for our monthly games. I really want to play. I will have my Switch with me, but I got to do a ton of cleaning tonight to get our house ready for a walkthrough from our landlord. So I'll see where I'm at. But you should all come in and play and then just hang out in our Discord. And then if you want to get more from us, go to patreon.com/GameMess. Join the Patreon, gets you into the secret channels. Join our channel right here on YouTube. You can do that. That gets you into our secret channels as well. So just hit that join button. At any level, you'll get into the Discord channels. So or the hidden ones. So I appreciate that. And then I guess we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.